So we continue by going back to our um, to the directory containing our source files. And so the next step is that I will create the implementation file with the same name as the name of the structure by saying new text document, right? Just right click somewhere in the uh, white space here and say new text document, and rename its entire file name with extension with text rectangle.cpp, which is the implementation file extension. So again, we dismiss the warning and say, yes, we want this. And so this file has to be added to the list of source files for our project. So I'm going to say view solution explorer and go to the source file list and say add existing item, because I just created this file, right? And I'm jumping to the source subfolder, and here it is, text rectangle.cpp. Please do not make a mistake of putting any header files on the list of source files. Right? Source files are only CPP files and not header files. The header files are to be included and not put on this list. Only the CPP files are put on this list. So we click add, and now it appears here. So if I double click on it, we can start populating the content of this text rectangle with implementation of the functions. So let's close this for now, and I will just take these samples, okay, like this, okay, just copy and paste them into this file as they are, okay. And my only note is that because these are, let me just show it side by side for now, right? So because these functions, set label, get label, set font, get font, set, get, all of this, they've been declared right here inside the header file. So therefore, the plan is, and by the way, let me just resize them by, change the indentation by selecting all of this, and pressing Shift Tab brings it back to the, changes the indentation to a smaller indentation, right, like this. So once again, because these are all member functions of the new structure, we're going to use the name of the structure to prefix each of these names like this with the name of the structure to which these functions belong. And of course, colon colon is a scope resolution operator that basically says this name should be found in the entity that has this name, right? So set label belongs to text rectangle. In other words, set label should be found declared inside the structure named text rectangle, which is true. And so we now take this qualifier, right, structure scope qualifier right here, and we should be adding it to every name of this function, of the function list, because we're just trying to say that these functions belong to this specific structure named text rectangle. So these functions simply delegate, right? So this is our, remember that the plan was and still is because the text rectangle contains an instance of the text class. We're going to delegate all the work related to text, like showing text, to the actual text object. So, for example, with text, what we can do is we can say set label, we can say get label, we can say set font, or get font like this, and set font size and get font size. So this makes our text rectangle behave accordingly to the idea that we can be changing the text appearance and displaying text with a certain font size and so forth. Okay, so back to the handout. Right, so we have this discussion here that basically says that this is how we're going to manage the text. And it says that the implementation of the member function set hide and set show are relevant to the background color of the rectangle class. Okay, so we'll take this as an example now and discuss it. So you can add them anywhere you want. I mean, I can right now, if I want, I can basically add this to the top of our implementation. The first thing that I do inside the implementation file as I'm essentially working on the implementation of these functions, I will take the text rectangle name qualifier and again add in front of these member function names to explain to the compiler that these functions belong to the text rectangle. So this is how a typical implementation file for all member functions declared inside a structure or a class will look like. So notice that in the implementation, like again, I will use, for instance, a label function. The label function is found here. It says this is to get text label from our gadget, and it is a constant function which promises not to modify the content of this object, and so we keep it also here as part of the function signature. And this is an important part that we should not forget. It should match exactly. So basically this declaration is supposed to match this implementation of the function exactly, except that here we use this. So normally you don't want to do something like this. Okay, so that's a bad idea. Don't do this. Okay, so inside the header file, the functions declared just by their names, and it's obvious that they belong to the structure. But outside of the structure scope, we still can add implementations by using the correct name resolution qualifier right here. So I'm saving all of this. And let's talk about the new functions text hide and text show.